When building a PC on a budget, you don't have to compromise on style or performance, especially when choosing the right case to house your components. To help you narrow down your choices, here are top 5 best budget PC cases of 2024 for you today. You can buy it at the link in the description below the video. Number 5. Phanteks Eclipse G360A. The G360A, with its ultra-fine mesh front panel, was built to fulfill next-generation cooling demands, and for $80, it's an excellent chassis for builders on a budget. 3 digital RGB 120mm fans come pre-installed, and an LED strip runs along the tempered glass panel. The tempered glass side panel is secured with 2 thumb screws at the back and is simple to remove and reattach. The top of the case features 2 USB 3.0 Type-A ports, 5 gigabits per second, 2 RGB color and mode adjustment buttons, a power button, and a microphone or headphone connector. The power button is located on the front of the case, above the top fan. The G360A can take up to 3 120mm or 2 140mm fans at the top, as well as radiators up to 360mm. The front of the G360A received the same treatment as the top, with radiator support for up to 280 or 360mm. The case's rear remains intact, however it supports a 120mm fan or radiator. Behind the motherboard tray, there are 2 pre-installed sleds for 2 2.5-inch drives. If you want to install additional SATA drives, there is a cage for 2 2.5 or 3.5-inch drives beneath the PSU shroud. Phanteks has also included various cable management openings on the tray. Number 4. Corsair 4000D Airflow. The Corsair 4000D Airflow is a mid-range, mid-size ATX case with a few premium touches, but nothing too extravagant to bump up its price too high, at $90. The word airflow in the name is not an idle brag. In addition to adding the perforated front panel, Corsair left huge holes on either side of the perforated area, allowing for additional internal airflow. The top is likewise perforated and covered by a huge magnetic dust filter, while the back of the casing features ventilation holes cut from top to bottom. The Corsair 4000D Airflow's front input-output panel, which is located on top of the chassis, leaves plenty to be desired, with only 1 USB 3.0 Type-A and 1 USB 3.1 Type-C connector. There is also a headphone or microphone combination jack, as well as the normal reset and power buttons. 2 120mm Corsair AirGuide fans, one front and one behind, are pre-installed to help things along. Inside the case, the 4000D Airflow is divided into 2 major chambers. The upper compartment houses the motherboard, while the lower compartment is walled off by a shroud that houses the power supply and provides space for storage devices. In addition to the 7 PCI Express card positions, the rear panel offers 2 slots for vertical GPU attachment. Corsair expanded this case's capacity to accommodate 4 storage devices. 2 2.5-inch drive mounts are buried on the motherboard mounting tray, and a drive cage at the case's bottom can house 2 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drives. Route your key cables through a single channel, leaving a generous 25mm of space behind the motherboard for all of your wires, making a clean-looking construction easier than ever. Number 3. NZXT H5 Flow. At $95, the H5 Flow RGB delivers excellent cooling and performance, as well as brilliant RGB in a compact mid-tower ATX case. Taking a quick look around the H510 Flow, you'll notice that its design is minimal, quite rectangular, with nothing but clean lines and a sleek tinted glass panel. The H5 series makes building simple with an intuitive and spacious cable management system. The case's I/O is located on top and comprises of a headphone or mic combo connector, a USB Type-C port, and a USB 3.0 Type-A port. Looking inside, the case is also one of the simplest ATX boxes, with a big upper compartment that can accommodate an ATX motherboard, GPUs up to 14.5 inches, 360mm long, and CPU coolers up to 6.5 inches, 165mm tall. The top now features a bigger mesh panel, which allows for radiators up to 240mm in size. The front is covered by a big mesh intake screen with a dust filter behind, allowing for plenty of airflow. Behind the dust filter, NZXT inserts a modular mounting frame that can accommodate two 120mm or two 140mm fans, as well as larger radiators. The PSU chamber and cable management space are located in the back. Back here, there's room for the largest ATX power supply, two 3.5-inch HDD caddies, and two 2.5-inch SSD sleds. Number 2. Asus Prime AP201. The Asus Prime AP201 is a 33-liter MATX compact form factor computer case that packs a surprising amount of features for its reasonable asking price of $80. Instead of bolts or hinges, each AP201 side panel attaches to the case with a simple but sturdy clip mechanism. This makes it simple to remove when you need to access the interior of the chassis, as well as resistant to accidental removal. Inside the casing, Asus designed a structure that allows you to mount and accommodate up to 6 cooling fans. The rear side has a pre-installed 120mm fan, while the bottom can accommodate up to 2 120mm fans. The top side of the chassis may accommodate 3 120mm fans, 2 140mm fans, or a water-cooled system with a radiator length of up to 360mm. Going back to the outside of the case, the simple design continues on the front panel. Aside from the power button, headphone, and microphone connections, there are 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A ports and 1 USB 3.2 Gen Type-C port, which can transport data at speeds of up to 10 gigabits per second. The AP201 features an extended motherboard tray with strategically placed cutouts and 32mm of space to store cables out of sight, which I'm pleased to inform you can accomplish with the Asus Prime AP201, which has one 2.5-inch bay and another combo bay that can accept 3 2.5 or 3.5 inches. Number 1. Lian Li Lancool 216. The Lian Li Lancool 216 is not a typical cheap case. It's one of the best budget cases ever. With so many unique features, it's only $100. The new Lian Li 216 case has good I/O, including power, a reset button, 2 USB 3.0 Type-A ports, 1 USB Type-C port, and an audio combo jack. In addition, in an homage to the O11D Evo, the I/O can be relocated to the case's lower left corner, freeing up space for the RGB controller. The Lancool 216 comes with a 120mm fan mount that fits onto the back of the PCIe bracket. If you intend to use a large air cooler, the Lancool 216 can handle up to 180mm, which is more than adequate for the highest towers. The same goes for GPUs, since this chassis can accommodate cards up to 392mm. To accommodate radiators, the front fans can be removed and replaced with 3 120mm or 2 140mm spinners. The top of the case can accommodate the same configuration. Finally, the rear exhaust accommodates a 120 or 140mm fan. There is also plenty of storage space, with 2 replaceable 3.5 inches bays and the option to install up to 6 2.5 inches drives. 3 big cable straps in the central channel enable extensive cable management. An additional cable management channel to the right of the motherboard tray contains 3 clips for CPU EPS power wire routing, and many cable cutouts are strategically positioned.